The Guild Wars 2 you thought you knew is changing. ArenaNet has pretty much torn up its old roadmap, thrown out the conventions of the last decade, and is charting a totally new course. For some, this is the most exciting time to be a player. For others, it's a period of deep uncertainty. But one thing is crystal clear, the future of Tyria will not look like its past. What's coming next will redefine this game for years to come, and if you want to be prepared, these are a couple things that you need to understand as these huge shifts start happening. Consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more Guild Wars 2 content. For over a decade, the rhythm of Guild Wars 2 was simple. We get like a massive, infrequent expansion and then a long season of living world story episodes. It was a model that gave us epic high points like Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire. But it also created some serious content droughts that left players just waiting. Starting with the Secrets of the Obscure expansion, ArenaNet switched to a radical new plan. Smaller annual expansions backed up by major quarterly updates. The goal was straightforward: deliver more content more consistently and give better support to all game systems. But this change has had a ripple effect, touching everything from how the stories are told and how the game is updated to the financial health of the game itself. So let's break it all down. These are the 5 critical long-term trends that you absolutely need to understand about the future of Guild Wars 2. The single biggest change to Guild Wars 2 future is the new content model. Forget having 2 or 3 or even 4 years waiting for a huge expansion. ArenaNet is now committed to faster, more predictable annual cycle expansion. Every year, we can expect a new, smaller scale expansion that kicks off a fresh story arc and brings new open world maps, strike missions, and of course, masteries and other rewards. But the expansion is just the start. The real engine of this new update is the quarterly updated schedule that follows. Throughout the year, these updates build on the expansion's foundations. They add more story chapters, expand playable maps, introduce challenge modes for strikes, and roll out a couple new fractals. We saw this play out with Secrets of the Obscure, and we saw it again with Janthier Wilds. The idea is to create constant, forever momentum, transforming the game from one of dramatic, spaced-out changes into a steady, persistent evolution. The shift is a direct answer to one of the community's oldest complaints: content droughts. The long waits between expansions and even living world seasons often cause players to lose interest and then drop off. This new cadence is designed to fix exactly that, ensuring that there's always something new right around the corner. It allows ArenaNet to be more flexible, to add new features, and to keep the world of Tyria feeling alive and dynamic all the time. It's kind of like a promise to us players, that the game will be more active and consistently supported than ever before. But as we'll see, actually developing on that promise has its own set of challenges. The second major trend that we've seen is the subtle but incredibly important shift of ArenaNet's development philosophy. While the new model is built for speed, the studio has made it clear that it won't sacrifice quality or their team's well-being just to hit a deadline. The proof? They've already delayed the game's 6th expansion. Originally, it was slated for an August release, just like the other expansions before it, under this new model. However, ArenaNet has announced they've pushed it back to October of 2025. In the announcement, game director Josh Davis was blunt, stating, "This extra time will allow us to ensure the expansion meets our quality standards without crunching. This isn't just some minor delay, it's a public statement of their values." In an industry notorious for a brutal crunch culture, ArenaNet is signaling a commitment to sustainable development. They're betting that a healthier team will make a better, more polished game, even if it means tweaking the schedule. Of course, this delay messes with the new content cadence a bit. It shifts the whole timeline for the quarterly updates that follow, meaning the rhythm that we were just getting used to will now be recalibrated. But it also says a lot about their long-term vision. They're playing the long game. Instead of pushing out expansions that might feel rushed, they're taking their time to get it right. For players, this should be a good thing. It suggests that the annual releases won't become a content factory, just churning out all these soulless updates. This focus on quality is a trend that will likely define the player experience for years to come. For years, players have been asking for more than just new stories and maps. We've always wanted real, meaningful updates to the core systems that we interact with every day. The third major trend that ArenaNet is finally digging into is just doing that. The future isn't about expanding the world, it's about deepening it. We're seeing this all over the place. One big one that I can call out is World v World. A game mode that many have felt was neglected is getting a huge, if slow, restructuring. The much discussed alliance system is still in the works, then the recent updates have moved it to a continuous beta state to gather more data and make changes faster. In PvP, ArenaNet is trying to diversify the builds by adding new amulets and runes and making higher end gear easier to get, but everyone already has their opinion on PvP. These foundational updates are happening alongside a steady stream of balance patches and other quality of life improvements. I mean, recent updates have brought major reworks to skill and traits across all the different professions, trying to shake up the meta and make more builds viable. We've also seen huge new features finally get added, like player housing with homesteads, a long requested feature that adds a whole new layer of personal expression to the game. On top of that, the studio keeps investing in its game's tech, with the move to DirectX 11 laying the groundwork for better performance and graphics down the line. What this all tells us, really, is that ArenaNet's vision for the future isn't just about what's next, but also trying to make what they already have better. They're actively working to modernize the old systems, respond to long-standing feedback, and invest in the game's technical health. This holistic approach ensures that Guild Wars 2 isn't just getting bigger, it's getting better. Now, this one isn't something that you would see on an official roadmap, but it's absolutely critical to understand where the game is headed. The economic and community response to this new model. While the annual expansion plan was meant to create stable revenue and a better work-life balance for devs, the results have been a kind of hot topic. Recent financial reports from the parent company NCSoft have shown a significant dip in revenue for Guild Wars 2. In the first quarter of 2025, sales dropped over 20% compared to the same time of last year. While some ups and downs are normal, this has sparked some real questions in the community about the financial health of this new model. It seems the initial cash injection from the new expansion is followed by a steeper drop-off than expected, which suggests that smaller quarterly updates might not be keeping players spending as consistently as they would hope. This financial picture is reflected in a pretty complex community sentiment. A lot of players love having a steady flow of new things to do, but there's a growing worry about the perceived quality and depth of content, especially in the story. Some veterans feel the quarterly story drops are rushed, and they lack the epic and kind of grand scale of the old Living World seasons. I mean, I'm looking at Living World Season 4. Yeah, that was peak. Is the trade-off of more consistent content worth a potential hit to narrative depth and innovation? ArenaNet seems to know that there's pressure here. There has been whispers and database sightings of possible side projects, with many speculating about a collectible card game. This could be a great way to diversify and create new revenue streams to keep their main MMO healthy. This trend is a stark reminder that Guild Wars 2 exists in the real world. Its future is shaped not just by the creative choices, but by the financial performance and the constant conversation with its passionate player base. Alright, so that was all a lot, but what does this mean to you? What does this actually mean for your experience here in Tyria? Well, this last point is really just a combination of all the others. The very nature of being a Guild Wars 2 player is changing. The future of the game asks for a shift in our expectations, away from a game of epic occasional highs to one of continuous evolving engagement. First, your relationship with the story is going to be different. The days of waiting for the next chapter of a single massive saga are over. Instead, stories are more self-contained within the year, delivered in a more frequent, bite-sized chunk. This means that the narrative will feel faster and more immediate, but it might also feel less monumental than the decade-long Elder Dragon saga. Second, your character and its game features will be in a state of almost constant change. You can expect more frequent balance patches that could completely shift the meta for your favorite profession. New masteries will pop up every year with every expansion, and core systems like World v World and Fractals will get slow, steady improvements instead of massive one-and-done overhauls. This means being a player is less about reaching some static endgame and more adapting to the sandbox that's always evolving. Ultimately, ArenaNet's vision is to make Guild Wars 2 more accessible and consistently rewarding for everyone, whether you're a brand new player or a 10-year veteran. By getting rid of long waits and the pressures just to log in to unlock the free content, they're making it easier to jump in and come back. The game is becoming less of a commitment that you have to stress about keeping up with, and more of a world that you can feel comfortably stepping in and out, knowing that there's always something new to be discovered without feeling like you've been hopelessly left behind. This player-focused approach, centered on long-term sustainable fun, is maybe the most important trend of all. Alright, the future of Guild Wars 2, of course, is a complex picture, painted in these trends. We're heading into an era of consistency we've never seen before, with a new expansion and major updates coming on the more predictable schedule. This is all guided by the clear commitment from ArenaNet to prioritize quality and their developers' well-being, even if it means bumping a release date. That philosophy is also being applied to the game itself. with a deep focus on improving core systems, not just tacking on new content. But this is an ambitious new direction, and it isn't without its growing pains. The financial numbers in the community chatter show a real amount of tension between the desire for constant content and a demand for deep, high-quality experiences. And right in the middle of this is all the Guild Wars 2 players. Your entire experience, from story to progression, is being reshaped into a more fluid, constantly evolving journey. It also should be stated that at some point, Guild Wars 3 is probably going to happen. It has been confirmed publicly by NCSoft, but as far as other information, we have none. The one thing we can say for sure is that ArenaNet is actively building for the future of Guild Wars 2, not just coasting. The road ahead might look different from the one that we've already traveled, but it definitely promises to be one of a constant adventure. Now, I'm curious, I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this annual expansion model? Or is it working for you? Or do you more so prefer the epic scale of old releases? If you did hear all this and you said that Guild Wars 2 is a game that you wish to play, you can click this video here to get the entirety of the beginner's guide for Guild Wars 2 in 2025. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.